Well-Trained Mind Press presents Jewish Holiday Stories, as told by Jim Weiss.
There have been Jewish holidays for thousands of years, for the Jewish people trace their history back that far. Today there are 9 main holidays spread throughout the calendar. Some are celebrations of a season, such as the harvest holidays. But the 3 holidays whose stories you are about to hear have their roots in history, in what happened to real people. In each case, these people chose to follow a difficult, even dangerous road, because they knew it was the right thing to do. And as a result of their courage, the story of the Jewish people and the larger story of all people would never be the same. Chanukah, the Festival of Lights. About 2,300 years ago, the most powerful people in the ancient world were the Greeks. Their plays, their music, their ways of designing and constructing buildings, their beautiful statues, the things they thought were important in order to live a happy life, these ideas spread all through the ancient world. And in fact, a lot of today's modern ideas go back to the Greeks. But in those long-ago times, the Greeks were not yet united into one nation, as they are today. Each city and the land around it was its own little nation. Eventually, they started to fight among themselves to see who would be most important. To the north, in a country called Macedonia, the king of that land saw what was happening. This king was named Philip, and Philip gathered an army to attack the Greek cities while they were weak from fighting each other. Philip conquered Greece, and then, in a way, Greece conquered Philip. For he was so impressed by Greek civilization, he adopted it as his own way of life. Now Philip had a son, a prince named Alexander. When Prince Alexander grew up, his father Philip died, and Alexander became king. He wanted to be even more important and famous than his father, so he set out to conquer the greatest number of lands and people that he could, no matter how many lives it would cost. Alexander loved fame as much as he loved war. Today, although all the world knows him as Alexander the Great, few people realize he was more interested in winning an empire than in running it, focusing more on conquest than on setting up a government that would last. Finally, Alexander's health failed him. At the age of only 33, with an empire stretching all the way from Greece to India, Alexander lay dying in his army tent far from home. Around his bed gathered the generals who had assisted him, each one hoping to be the next king. But when they asked, "To which of us do you leave your empire?" Alexander only laughed and answered, "To the strongest." And then he died. He knew the generals would fight each other for the throne, and his empire would break into pieces, so that none of them would match his own record of conquest. Now one of these generals went to Syria, and doing his best to imitate Alexander, he led his armies to conquer all the surrounding nations. His descendants continued to violently attack their neighbors, and for a long time no one could stop them. At last, one of these descendants, King Antiochus IV, led his mighty armies into a little land called Judea. Judea was all that was left of the ancient land of Israel after it had been torn apart by war. It was here that Chanukah would be born. King Antiochus IV led his vast army into Judea, almost without any resistance from the people there. The people of Judea were not famous fighters. They lived quiet lives, working and playing and praying, and living by the laws of the Torah, the laws that had come down to them centuries before in the time of Moses. They prayed to one God, the central location of whose worship was the great temple in Jerusalem, which centuries before had been built by wise King Solomon in praise of God. So when Antiochus
Sample complete. Ready to continue?